BCCI President N Srinivasan says match-fixing charges over Indo-Pak World Cup semi-final an insult to the Indian team despite the ICC choosing to refrain from the controversy. South Africa ahead after a hard-fought third day's play. Aussies trailed the visitors by 339 runs with 7 wickets remaining in the first innings.
They have spread a little bit high.
Manchester United does it again, comes back from the dead to win at Indo-Pak 3-2, but Arsenal held at the Emirates against a dogged full side. Also on the show, we'll get you the Russian tennis sensation Maria Sharapova, who's on a whirlwind trip to Delhi. All you tennis fans can enjoy that in just a bit. Maria Sharapova in town to promote a real estate company, but we spoke to her earlier today and we'll get you all the action from her one-day visit to Delhi.
You're extremely pretty, firstly.
Thank you.
Yeah, and
it's makeup and hair and I don't wake up looking like this.
Alright, all that and more in this Let's Play Weekend edition. I'm Shivani Gupta, but first we'll start with the big cricket stories. Will he make it or will he not? That's the question that Team India faces regarding pace spearhead Zaheer Khan. Zach has been struggling with a groin injury and faces a race against time to be fully fit for the first test against England that starts on the 15th of this month. We get a status check on whether India's premier pacer will be ready for the challenge.
Zaheer Khan going through the paces in Team India's camp in Mumbai. Zaheer's fitness or lack of it is the team management's biggest headache ahead of the big series against England. Zach bowled at the nets, but not quite at full steam. Zaheer has been struggling with a groin injury that forced him to walk away during Mumbai's Ranji game against Railways. Time is fast running out for India's pace spearhead to reach full fitness ahead of the first test that starts at Ahmedabad on the 15th. So will Zach be fully fit to lead the attack? The team management would be unwilling to risk a half-fit Zach going into a busy season of cricket. The team will be especially wary after the bitter experience they had in England last year. Zach limped off in the very first test against England and India never quite recovered from that blow. And the team would not want a repeat of that fiasco. Even former cricketers are cautious about Zaheer's return. Former Indian captain Sunil Gavaskar has made it clear that Zaheer needs to prove he is fully fit before he is included in the Indian playing 11. And it would be a mistake to select a half-fit Zaheer on the basis of his past displays.
Who is in the best form or the best nick as of now? We can't talk about future because we don't know, and we can't rest on our past laurels indefinitely. We got to try and live in the present, which is now.
It's not going to be easy for Zaheer Khan. Going up there, turning up in test match, bowling 30-35 overs in one particular test match, and like you just said, on the other side of 30, it's never easy to recuperate for a fast bowler. Going out there and bowling with 100% intensity, it'll get difficult.
But Zach's availability is crucial for Team India's fortunes. Zaheer is clearly the leader of the inexperienced Indian pace attack. In 85 tests, the 34-year-old has picked up 291 wickets at an average of 32.06 with a best bowling performance of 7 for 87. More importantly, Zaheer has been crucial in India's test wins. India have won 37 tests with Zach in the ranks, and he has picked up 146 wickets in Indian wins at an average of 25.74. India may be banking on the spinners to tame the Lions, but a fit Zaheer also holds the key to India's chances. Zaheer's fitness once again in the spotlight, and the team will be hoping that Zach can last the distance in the crowd series. With Rasesh Mandani in Mumbai, Sports Bureau, headlines today.
What's with Zaheer Khan and the English, one wonders. But the good news is, besides the news of Zaheer Khan, is that the English have crumbled horrendously against subcontinent spinners on subcontinent pitches, and we won't even have to go too far back for examples of that. But still, former India captain Sourav Ganguly has warned Dhoni's Devils against underestimating the visiting batsmen on India's turning tracks. Here's the report.
But the advantage for England coming here is that they've got two quality spinners, which not many touring teams have.
Sourav Ganguly warning Dhoni's Devils to guard against underestimating the Englishmen on India's turning tracks. With arguably the best off spinner in the game today in Grant Swan and two wily left-arm tweakers in Monty Panesar and Samit Patel, the visitors surely have a potent spin force to exploit Indian conditions.
My first two I remember.
Closing in on the 200 Test wickets milestone, Swan's numbers stamp his value to the English attack. But it is his record in the subcontinent that is bound to bolster Captain Cook and Coach Flower's confidence. In spite of accounting for just 8 scalps during England's last tour to India, Swan's ability to extract added bounce and turn does catapult him as England's frontline weapon in the Drought series.
I think there's always pressure on the spinner when you play in India. Obviously people assume that you're in the subcontinent, so all the wickets will be big turners.
You're playing in venues of Ahmedabad, Mumbai, where there is red soil, where there will be bounce. It will not just be turn, but it will be bounce as well. So spinners will come into the game, and they won here in Bombay before.
We're going to have to be able to adapt to whatever situation, whatever surface we're going to play. So, you know, whether we're going to have to play 2 spinners or 3 seamers, we're going to have to try and find the best balance.
But the onus will be on Cook and his fellow batsmen to provide enough runs for his spinners to weave their magic. The quartet of Cook, Bell, Trott and Peterson did ensure Team India paid heavily during the 2011 English summer.
To the spell. Peterson was waiting.
But replicating that success on hostile turning tracks in India will be their ultimate challenge.
Let's go out and play the patient game. And like we did this week at CCI, you saw the likes of Cookie happily batting away for hours and hours and not caring if it's very aesthetically displeasing. Just, you know, really occupying the crease and scoring a big 100. And that's what we need to do if we're going to be successful.
No doubt, Swan and co, with their guile and deception, have the ability to put pressure on India's much-wanted batting lineup.
Spin a web around the opposition to win test matches has been India's mantra at home. But with the visiting English side having quality spinners in their rank, India may be facing a bit of a dilemma whether to deliver square turners this time around. Chances, however, are that with a quality batting lineup to support their spinners, India may still believe their spinners are better than those of the visitors to win them the series. In Mumbai, Rasesh Mandani, Headlines Today.
Moving on to a shocking piece of news. Was the World Cup semi-final between India and Pakistan in 2011 at Mohali fixed? A question that has been asked before and will now be asked again. Ed Hawkins, a sports betting journalist who had spent months investigating corruption in cricket, is raising that question again in a book titled Bookie, Gambler, Fixer, Spy. The main allegations hover around a tweet he received from an alleged Indian bookmaker called Partif. If the allegations are to be believed, then we get startling similarities in what's claimed and what's happened. The message read, India will bat first and score over 260 runs, and India scored 260 for the loss of 9 wickets. It was predicted that Pakistan will cruise to 100, then lose 2 quick wickets. In the game, Pakistan lost Ashad Shafiq and Yunus Khan at 103 and 106 respectively. Then it was said that Pakistan will be 5 down at 150, and then they will crumble, and so happened in that match that day. Pakistan were 150 for 5, and the next 5 batsmen could only amass 81 runs. It was predicted also that Pakistan will eventually lose by a margin of over 20 runs, and Pakistan, believe it or not, lost the semi-finals by 29 runs. Asked to react, the head of media and communications at the ICC, Colin Gibson, had said at the time when these allegations were first made by the Sunday Times earlier this year in March that they would not like to comment on ICC's anti-corruption and security unit matters, but there are others seeking a formal probe into the matter, and leading the charge is former PCB boss Ijaz Bhatt, who has called for an investigation.
वहाँ पे भी अखबारों में था, आपके अखबारों में भी था, मैच फिक्स हो गया, व्हाट वाज राइट, व्हाट वाज रॉन्ग, ये इन्वेस्टिगेट, समबडी शुड डू इट, हु डज इट, आई डोंट नो.
All right, moving forward, let's get you some cricket action now. South Africa have their noses slightly ahead at the end of day 3 of the first test against Australia as the hosts suffered a top-order collapse in their first innings at Brisbane. Replying to South Africa's first innings total of 450, Australia started off their innings on a horrendous note, losing David Warner, which was 13 on the board. The Aussies slipped further into trouble as Morne Morkel claimed Rob Queenie's wicket for 9 and then dented Australia's hopes further, sending back Ricky Ponting for naught. Australia, however, recovered from 40 for 3 to 111, courtesy a 71-run partnership between Ed Cowan and skipper Michael Clarke. Earlier, of course, South Africa resumed their innings from 255 for 2. Overnight batsmen Hashim Amla and Jacques Kallis went on to complete their centuries, taking South Africa to the 450 mark.
Made sure he hung on to it. Really well judged catch.
Let's start with football action now. Look back at some EPL action from last night where Manchester United managed a thrilling come-from-behind win. Javier Hernandez inspired a dramatic Manchester United comeback against Aston Villa as the Red Devils won 3-2 to stretch their lead at the top of the Barclays Premier League to 4 points. Villa stunned their opponents by taking a 2-goal lead through Andres Weimann and in the space of 5 minutes either side of half-time. But Hernandez turned the game on its head by scoring United's first goal, which was followed by an own goal by Ron Blas for an equaliser, and then the United stars struck again, the late header to seal a dramatic win. Arsenal blew a 2-goal lead on the other hand for the second time in a week as Fulham battled to a 3-all draw at the Emirates. Gunners were in control after early goals from Oliver Giroud and Lucas Podolski. Fulham, though, rallied after Dimitar Berbatov reduced the deficit and Alex Kakanchelik levelled before half-time. The visitors then went ahead from the penalty spot when Berbatov slotted home after Mikel Arteta had fouled Brian Ruiz. Giroud quickly levelled at 3-all and the Gunners were awarded a penalty in stoppage time for handball, only for Fulham keeper Schwarzer to produce a brilliant stop from Arteta's low effort. Russian superstar Maria Sharapova is in India. That's right, the world number 2 sneaked in for a surprise visit that was kept rather hush-hush. Sharapova, who recently lost in the WTA Championships finale, has been taking a break from the grueling tennis season in a year where she completed a career slam by winning the French Open earlier this year. She's come to India for a one-day visit, hoping that the next time she comes, her fans will get to see her play in India. Here's a report. Palpable excitement as tennis sensation Maria Sharapova walks into the room, towering over everyone else. On her maiden visit to the country, the world number 2 was visibly excited to finally come to India.
My first time to India after so many years. It's amazing it's taken me so long to come.
No wonder then everyone was keen to know just what she thinks of the country, the sights and sounds, and of course, if she sampled any of the Indian cuisine.
I'm only here for one day, but I had for breakfast I had dosa. Is that how you say? Yes. And I was asking the chef what I should have because I really want to have a great Indian experience. And
Sharapova has won 3 titles in 2012, including a Grand Slam in Roland Garros, with it also completing a career Grand Slam.
But the French Open this year was extra special because I was injured for a year and I didn't play the sport for a little bit, so it really, when I came back, I had a little bit of a different perspective on how hard it takes to get to a winning position, and how hard it is to earn it.
And while she says it was extremely satisfying to be back in the reckoning after an injury, she still hasn't quite found an answer to Serena Williams' dominance, whom she lost to in the recently concluded WTA Championships finale.
I think it's so great to have rivalries in the sport. That's what makes the competition better, and you always strive to keep working hard, and I look forward to trying to change that result in the future.
Serena and Maria go back a long time. She'd beaten the American at Wimbledon in 2004 to win her very first Grand Slam. She was 17 then, and clearly their rivalry just keeps going on. But as far as the women's tour goes, Sharapova feels it won't be easy for a teenager to win the big ones anymore.
You know, you haven't seen very young champions at Grand Slams in a very long time, and I also think that is because the sport has become very physical.
While this was a purely commercial visit and one didn't actually see Maria Sharapova in action, it was still one of those rare occasions when India hosted a truly world-class, top-notch tennis player. And we hope when Maria Sharapova comes calling next time, it will be with a racket in her hand. With camera person Ashwini Helen in Delhi, Shivani Gupta, Headlines Today. Well, that was earlier in the day, and with that we've come to an end to this edition of Let's Play, but we bid adieu with the visuals of possibly the weirdest human-powered aircraft competition in the world. Take care and keep watching Headlines Today.
Chipping